So as people are dissecting the failure of Sydney Sweeney's new movie, Christy, there are multiple theories as to why it underperformed so historically badly in the box office. And Sydney Sweeney's PR team is not doing her any favors as all of this coverage is coming out. They are now allegedly emailing random bloggers and outlets trying to convince them to take down their negative posts about the movie or reword them. This is one that's posted by Eric Italiano, who is a culture writer at this outlet called Bro Bible. He said he got this PR email today, never got one like it before. Her team's down bad. And in the screenshot, this PR agency, which by the way is called Paradigm, and I did confirm this is her talent agency, they say, "Hi, Eric. Would you please mind updating the headline for us to say that despite low box office, the audience has spoken? We are 99% positive on the popcorn meter. Box office aside, this one's a win in all the ways that matter. We're so proud to back independent cinema and share a story that genuinely deserves to be seen." And this was a quote tweet of the discussing film post that said, Sydney Sweeney has defended the movie. "We are in it for impact, not the numbers," she said.
Which is, of course, half true and half cope.
You did not win in all the ways that matter if you didn't make money.
It's also, look, so people were, over the weekend, people were asking questions as to why it felt like there was this all-out onslaught campaign for Predator Badlands, because it like did mildly better than they expected it to. It felt like you were getting like the full brunt of every access media site to talk about how it was the greatest, most profitable, biggest opening weekend for a Predator movie ever, of course, because movie ticket prices in 1987 cost like 50 cents. And people are like, it feels kind of manufactured. Now, was it? I don't know. I didn't pay close attention to it. And actually, from what I've seen, a lot of people did really, really like the movie, far more than they were expecting to. But, the human mind, especially if you read a lot online, you have an ear for when it feels like it's getting to be a bit fake.
And I do think a lot of the negative press around Christie's flop is manufactured because of people's existing bias against
her,
Sydney
yes.
Sweeney. However,
because they would shifted the blame to you, the audience, for not going to see it and supporting important work.
But when Kristen Stewart, for instance, has her own lesbian boxing movie that flops, and she says something like, "It's about the art, not the numbers," we're right to call out that BS. And similarly, when Sydney Sweeney has her lesbian boxing movie that flops, and she says, "We're in it for the impact, not the numbers," that's also BS.
That's okay. So I'm going to address this comment. This is from the Destroyer Troll Trolls. He says, "Why are YouTubers so obsessed with the box office? I remember a time when people only cared about the quality of a movie. I miss those days." I feel ya. I understand, but I think in today's day and age, when it comes to having these discussions, people have shifted the goalposts so far. We're literally talking about something about it right here, where the publicist is trying to get them to shift the perspective on how a movie is being marketed or shown to the public by the people reporting on it. And in today's day and age, when everything was like venture capital and now everything's going straight to streaming, the last real fully tangible means you have for knowing whether the public really resonates with an idea or not is whether you can get people to go out of the comfort of their own homes, spend a good amount of money, because I will not accept the argument that you can get an AMC movie pass for however much a month. Doesn't matter. Most families aren't doing that. Can they part with $100 of their money plus food and gas to go drive to the theater and see a movie? Like, that is important. It is important to know whether it's made enough of an impact on people to get them to do something that's very difficult, which is to, spend their money and give their time rather than just, throwing it up on streaming and then commenting on it later. I think that's one of the reasons why is numbers are more tangible, and it allows people to break down. First of all, we talk about funny money in Hollywood all the time. Stuff gets moved around to different columns. You never know really whether a movie was profitable or not. But talking about those numbers is kind of a good floor. It's a good baseline to have that discussion. But you should also keep your discussions about the concept of a movie or the impact of a movie, or in this case, the message of a movie, that should be a completely separate discussion. And you can have them together as long as you show that they're distinct things that both matter. And then you can kind of give your perspective in there. But it's a part of being balanced towards it.
Yeah,
at least in my opinion.
You can't really divorce the art from the commerce aspect.
Yeah, at least not in today's day and age.
And sadly, you can't divorce the art from the artist, as all of these people who hate Sydney Sweeney are trying to come up with more reasons to shit on this movie. One of them is at Brian Long Films on X. He posted this meme that said, "White supremacists when they realize they have to watch white women in movies." And he's kind of making fun of the target demographic for Sydney Sweeney's public persona, not supporting her work. And he then replied with a screenshot allegedly from Sydney Sweeney's PR team as well, emailing him. He said, "No shot, Sydney Sweeney's PR is trying to do damage control for this tweet. I'm crying." In the email, it says, "Hi, Brian, reaching out on behalf of Sydney Sweeney and the Christy team. Your derogatory tweet unfairly paints our film in negative light, even though it has a 99% audience score on the popcorn meter and a strong rave review for Sydney's performance. It's disappointing to see a genuine original project reduced to such cheap shots online. We'd appreciate more balanced thought next time, especially toward original cinema.
Cry
Best
hard or loser."
Paradigm Talent Agency." I don't know if we're to believe that both of these emails are doctored screenshots. Like, I think that they are probably in code red right now and responding in the way they should not.
Yeah.
And Sydney Sweeney's post, in case you missed it yesterday, was trying to do damage control as well for the underperformance. She said, "Proud of the film that David made, proud of the story we told, proud to represent someone as strong and resilient as Christy Martin. This experience has been one of the greatest honors of my life. This film stands for survival, courage, and hope. Through our campaigns, we've helped raise awareness for so many affected by domestic violence. We all signed on to this film with the belief that Christy's story could save lives. Thank you to everyone who saw, felt, and believed and will believe in this story for years to come. If Christy gave even one woman the courage to take her first step towards safety, then we'll have succeeded. So yes, I'm proud." Why? Because we don't always just make art for numbers, we make it for impact. And Christy has been the most impactful project of my life. So, yeah, she's basically saying that the impact can somehow be divorced from the commercial success of the film, which makes no logical sense. If the story is that impactful and important, you would want as many people as possible to see it, and they didn't come out to see it. That's the unfortunate reality of the matter. And now people are clapping back to compare her box office track record with that of Zendaya, who, admittedly did have a head start on Sydney Sweeney in her career, having come off of the Disney pipeline, and she was the biggest star in Euphoria at the beginning of the show.
This is not a comparison of them. It's a comparison of project choice.
So for clarity, Sydney Sweeney's most successful movie, and I believe only successful movie in the box office so far in her career, has been Anyone But You, the rom-com with Glenn Powell.
What was the opening weekend on that one? Can you look it up?
I don't recall. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
But they compared this with a few of Zendaya's box office opening weekends.
Yeah. First of all, she is not the lead of Dune nor of Spider-Man, so no.
But the other one was Challengers, which is a better comparison with
opening to
Christy,
$15 million, yes.
Which was made on a $55 million budget and made $96 million worldwide.
Even then, still lost money.
Still not profitable.
But the problem with that is those are radically different tones in movies. In fact, Challengers would be closer to an Anyone But You in tone than Christy, which is a biopic. Biopic is its own genre.
Domestically, Anyone But You grossed $6 million on the opening weekend.
But it grossed how much total?
Let me see.
See if it legs out.
I believe it made worldwide $220 million.
Okay. So
on a budget of $25 million.
So it made more with a smaller budget than Challengers did, likely because of the off-screen, drama surrounding her and Glenn Powell.
But similarly, you could credit Glenn Powell's star power with that, especially if we're talking about 2023 when she was less well known.
I mean, Running Man isn't like they've lowered the projections on Running Man. That's not necessarily looking to open as well as they thought it was going to.
One of these replies said it was a movie, challengers, marketed as her having a three-way on screen.
Yep.
A sequel to a star-studded movie she had a small role in Dune, and a Marvel movie with 3 iterations of the biggest superhero in the world.
And I'm gonna
she
let
had
you
an even smaller role than Dune. But yeah, you sure showed her.
And I will let you in on a little secret. And I mean, this is no bias against Zendaya, because as I've told you lately, I'm Team Zendaya all the way. She seems to be, she seems to have that ability to keep quiet and, let the work do the talking and whatever. She's got her private life private with Tom Holland, which I appreciate. But if we're being honest, 2 of the strongest critiques of both the Spider-Man franchise and the Dune franchise are her characters. Mm-hmm. Whether you agree with that or not, it would be disingenuous to say that people don't have a critique of Chani or of, MJ.
Yeah.
Because she looks like she's constantly smelling something bad and like she's kind of mildly annoyed all the time. I'm still
Team
Zendaya.
Same thing in Euphoria, where people have pointed out Zendaya hasn't grown out of the Disney Channel way of performing on screen. She performs in Euphoria as if there is a laugh track.
And the thing is, Sydney Sweeney is not a great actress either, and I will die on that hill. I've yet to see any performance from her that tells me that she's a great actress, but her persona would lend itself oddly enough to the type of movies more that Zendaya is making, meaning blockbuster cinema where she can be the leading lady next to the male lead in like a blockbuster film. Or I mean, I don't know if she's good for Dune. I don't know if prestige sci-fi is really her bag, but she should make Barbarella, and she should make she should do a remake of Barbed Wire, and that's what she should be doing. And maybe, when the when the movies dry up, she relaunches Baywatch as her as the lead rather than the David Hasselhoff character.
No, I think that Sydney Sweeney is going to continue leaning into commercially unsuccessful movies because that's
her thing.
Well, that's her preference. But with all of these comparisons between Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney, it's relevant to point out that they are co-stars in Euphoria, which is currently developing its 3rd season, which is set to come out, I believe, next year. So there is allegedly a feud between Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney behind the scenes, at least according to this report from Daily Mail. Zendaya is refusing to even stand next to Sydney Sweeney. This says they can reveal the pair are locked in a bitter feud and are refusing to stand near each other at events. Their rift is said to be caused by their starkly different political views. Sydney Sweeney has been vocal about her support for President Trump. Not true.
That is like the biggest lie I've ever heard.
That's not true.
She's literally
they call her a proud Republican voter. That is also not true.
Why are you always lying?
Yeah, that's a lie. She was also criticized for her American Eagle advert, which some commentators deemed was racist. Zendaya is said to have been upset by Sydney Sweeney's views. She's said to be refusing to do press calls for the upcoming 3rd season of Euphoria with Sydney after filming finished earlier this month, according to sources working on the show. One insider stated, "It's no wonder Zendaya is refusing to do it. It's a difficult position for her to be in because if she even stands next to Sydney on a red carpet, it can be read as her excusing Sydney's views on Trump and her refusal to apologize for the racist ad."
She has no views on Trump, and there was nothing racist about the ad. Next.
Yeah, and they have never had any sort of public dispute. It's nothing but rumor here, and one of the comments theorized, this is coming from Zendaya's team, that they wanted to publish this in the Daily Mail to preempt any future criticisms against Zendaya for not being mad at Sydney Sweeney over the ad. So if they're smiling together, people will say, oh, well, Zendaya is just fulfilling a contract. They have to promote the show, etc. And if this piece backfires, Zendaya's team can always deny it and say, well, it's Daily Mail. What did you expect?
I just think that Zendaya is very calculating with her career. I think both of them are. Maybe that's the most impressive thing about it, is that a show about the absolute dregs of society has produced 2 of the most committed and they're very good. Like, they're very good at the business side of the industry. Both Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney. And I saw a comment earlier, and I do agree. It is true. Sydney Sweeney doesn't need to be a great actress. That is 110% true. But it would benefit her then to pick role. Like, okay, no, she doesn't need to be a good actress. That's why she should be doing Barbarella and Barbed Wire and Baywatch. But if you're going to take art house slop that's supposed to be award show bait, you kind of do need to be a good actress if you actually want the movies to resonate with people. So now if she was taking Baywatch 2 Electric Boogaloo Blue Crush Edition, everybody'd be like, go off, Queen. Like, that's fine. Or if they were like, yeah, of course she's going to make Showgirls Part 2 Electric Boogaloo, nobody would have a thing to say about it. They'd be like, you know what? That's how you're going to make your money. But if she's doing the lesbian boxing movies or Immaculate and all of these things, even horror movies
and Americana.
Eden, like, if your movies are made for people on Letterboxd, you kind of have to be a good actor. Or you be a bad actor and you get really good at producing and doing ads for Dunkin' Donuts and racist jeans.
I think her acting skills do not match up with the projects that she's choosing. And another co-star of Sydney Sweeney on The White Lotus, named Amy Lou Wood, recently took a dig at her. In the comment section on one of the clips of her GQ interview with Catherine Stoffel, Amy Lou Wood commented, "Nothing but a puking emoji." To just express her disgust at Sydney Sweeney's refusal to apologize for the American Eagle ad. And now, understandably, Amy Lou Wood is getting a hate train as well.
I mean, they just...
It's even got to the point where Sydney Sweeney is getting hate from Sabrina Carpenter's fan base because she made a TikTok for Stephen Colbert's show to the tune of one of her songs.
Yeah. Wait,
like, she can't win.
Who was Sabrina Carpenter just standing by recently saying, like, telling that, like, somebody was getting backlash? It's literally all, none of them ever shut up, so you have, like, 10,000 things from 10,000 actors, where she was, like, offering support for somebody, saying, like, F them.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Yeah, because Millie was saying that she was upset about the media picking apart her appearance, and she was crying at an award show. I
want Amy Lou Wood to do... look, I am not one to say that you should gender swap roles, but if we're going to do Austin Powers again, we gender swap... I guess it would be... What's a female version of Austin? She can be the female Austin Powers.
Or they could just find a different actress and give her fake teeth.
Yeah. She's not going to be playing a fembot, that's for sure. Do
you find it believable that there's any sort of bad blood between Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney?
I don't know about bad blood, but I find it believable that she would be like, she's making my career harder by turning the promotion of this movie or this show into something that it didn't need to be if she would just, And the thing is, what did I say earlier? She probably is that classic example of somebody who's very socially liberal, but very fiscally conservative because she seems to be focused on her money. If she is indeed a registered Republican, then
she was just the other week
hanging out with Hunter Schafer.
The dolls, and she doesn't really care about the culture war.
She just wants to keep her tax money.
I think if anything, Zendaya is just glad to have the respect of people within their industry, and Sydney Sweeney wants the approval of the average consumer.
You don't think by choosing those movie roles that the exact thing she wants is approval from people within her industry?
It's clearly not working.
That is true.
Right?
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.